Hello everyone, welcome back to SFDC Panther. This is Amit, and in this video we are going to talk about what are approval process in Salesforce, why these approval process are very important, and we are also going to create a very simple and useful approval process. So before we go ahead, there is a special announcement for all of you that we have introduced a new channel where we are going to talk about career related things both in Hindi and English. You'll get the link in the description. So please go ahead, like, share, subscribe that channel as well. Now, what approval process is? Approval process is basically a type of workflow. We say that it is also an automation tool which is mainly used whenever you wanted to take the approval from your higher management. There are step-by-step process that you can have. For example, your sales representative is working with a prospect, working with an opportunity where they are expecting some additional discount which is not in the hand of sales representatives. In that case, what they have to do is they have to submit that opportunity for approval, and once the opportunity is approved or rejected, based on that they can convey to their customer. Similarly, quote approval is something like you are working with your client, that you send the quote. If they approved, then your quote is approved, you are good to go with them, you are good to go to do the business. Otherwise you will not be able to do that. Similarly, you have got expense approval as an employee, so that you are trying to put some expense. You have visited somewhere, you traveled somewhere for the company purpose, you have say that you went for a dinner party with your colleagues, which company is paying for. So when after you have got the bills, you have to pay those bills, not pay, you have to submit those bills to the manager, to the respective authority, and once they will approve or reject, based on that your payment will be reimbursed. Okay. Offer letter approval is also very popular, like say that you got interviewed for one of the company, and in that company you have got some additional hikes, or they have some slab based on if you are exceeding that slab. After that, the HR manager has to take the uh, approval from the CEO or from the VP of the company. That is something that also comes under approval process. Now, as we have talked about approval process, we got the very basic idea. Let's talk about what exactly the scenario could be there in the interview questions. So in a couple of interview questions which I got is, they asked me, say that you are clearing this round of interview, then you are clearing next round of interview. After that, after that our HR manager has to take the approval from the higher management, then only we can roll you the offer. So here, what kind of automation tool you are going to use? So this is not something where you can go with workflow process builder or flow builder. Then you have to add this approval is involved there, you have to go with the approval process. So just think about the question and try to figure out what kind of automation you are going to use. Then this is basically a typical approval process which looks like. So there will be a start condition. Okay, a start is something like we are going to develop the process, and we are going to develop the process builder in a particular object. It can be an opportunity, it can be lead, or a custom object, expense, account, or any other object that we have, right? Every time whenever we are developing an approval process, there must be an entry criteria, right? We talked about here in the previous slide, there must be an entry criteria like discount is exceeding 2%, or you have cleared 2 rounds of interviews and then your salary is exceeding the expected, or say that their allotted budget. If that entry criteria match, then only your your approval process is going to work. If this entry criteria doesn't match, your approval process will not work. There are some cases where you won't be having any entry criteria. You might be seeing some real-time examples in your companies where you will be seeing that there are no such entry criteria. You are just putting a true or false in the starting so that you can directly go to the approval process. And in every approval process, there will be multiple steps. It can have multiple steps, it can have a single step. It depends on what kind of business use case you are implementing. So say that this has got 3 steps. Now it is going to work one by one. So every step will be there. In every step there will be criteria. You have to figure out if the step criteria matches, then it is going to do the approval and rejection steps. If it doesn't matches, it is going to try to check for the other steps. Okay, we will see what exactly is and how to develop that. Then for every approval process, if it is approved, there will be final approval action. Say that your offer letter was approved, then there will be final approval action, like say that roll out the offer or contact to candidate, that kind of things will be there, right? If there is a rejection, then there will be some rejection steps which will be performed. For example, put the profile on hold, or if we talk about in terms of proper in opportunities, then we will say that don't go ahead with the customer or try to negotiate more on that side. And then at the end, our process is going to end. So this is basically a typical approval process which looks like. And if you see on the left hand side, there are few approval steps. So in every steps, basically we can perform some set of tasks, and those tasks are like updating the record for a record which we are approval is working, sending the email to the manager or to the record owner, and then creating a task. These are the three tasks which we can perform from our approval steps. This can also be an interview question. There they ask what kind of task you can perform using approval process. Now let's talk about a very simple scenario over here. Okay, this is basically the simple scenario which we've got, and this is basically what we are going to approve. But if we talk about this is a broader way, we say that the previous was a very simple approval process. Now if we talk about here, we have talked some steps as well. We have put some steps, like we started developing the process. Our subject is there. Then we talked about if approval entry criteria met, it says that yes. Okay, if it is said that yes, then we are going to perform some initial actions. Initial actions are like say that as a sales representative, I am submitting a discount approval to my manager. So I can like the initial action can update the record field, say that submitted for approval, and then I can also receive an email say that your record has been submitted for approval. I can also send, like as an admin, we can set up to send the email to the manager, so that manager can also receive, say that okay, I have received an approval for this particular opportunity, and I have to review, and then based on that reject or approve, right? This is what we can do as an initial action. And then we have got proceed. After that initial action, it is going to proceed with the steps. Then there will be step 1. So we'll say that step 1 criteria matches. We say that no, it will check for further steps if there are. I haven't put anything because there could be multiple steps, right? Then if step 1 matches, then it is going to send an email to your approver, who is going to be approver. Then after that, it might also that's what step 1 is going to do. Approval, it is going to receive the email. Then it will check if it is approved. If it is approved, for every step there will be some actions. Okay, say that discount is approved by manager, then it says that approved by manager but waiting for VP. There could be a scenario, right? If there are no further steps taken, it is going to perform the final approval action. That's what we discussed. Final approval is like go ahead and give the discount to the customer and start doing the business. If there is no approval, that means it is rejected, then it is going to perform the rejection action. If there are no further steps, it is going to perform the final rejection action. Okay, here in the rejection action, we can send the email to the record owner saying that your approval was rejected. In the final rejection step, we can do update on the record, say that this record was updated, and these are the further steps that you can take. So this is again a high level of approval process that we have just discussed. Now if we talk about the scenario which we are going to implement over here in this video. So we are going to create an approval process which is going to take the approval from the manager. Okay, whenever the opportunity discount is greater than 2% and less than 4%. So if opportunity is between 2 to 4%, it is going to take the approval from the manager. If opportunity is greater than 4%, it is going to take the approval from senior manager. This is what we are going to do. The very basic, simple and useful scenario that you might implement in most of your organization. Then you have got a custom field. This is what the prerequisites are. We have to create a custom percentage field on opportunity. We will say that opportunity discount. We will also create one pick list field on opportunity with the status, say that submitted for approval, either approved or rejected. Okay, these are the three values which we are going to be there in the approval status, discount approval status. Okay, so this is what we are going to do, and now let's quickly jump into our Salesforce org. So just go ahead, open your Salesforce org, visit to the setup, And from the setup, we are going to develop approval process. To create the approval process, there are two ways which we can follow to create approval process, but we will be following the one which is very important for us. So to search for approval process, just search here approval process, okay? And as soon as you come back here, like in the approval process screen, you will be getting all the approval process which are already there. If you don't see, you need to select the object, okay? Before we actually go ahead, we must need to go to the object manager, and we have to go to the opportunity. And what we have to do is, we have to create those two fields we discussed. Just go ahead, click on new. It will be a percentage field, which is discount approval, sorry, discount percentage. And length, make it as 3, not more than that. And decimal is 0. Go ahead, make sure that the field is visible and add it to the page layout. And then click on save and new. We have to create one more field, which is discount approval status. Type of this field is going to be picklist. Just go ahead. We will select enter each values. So we've got these three values: submitted for approval, approved, rejected. We don't need any additional value to be entered over there. So we'll just go ahead, click on next. Add the visibility to all the profiles, add to the layout, save it. The prerequisite is done. We are going back to our approval process, okay? In the quick search box, you will already be having that. And here what we have to do is, we have to search for our object, which is opportunity, because it says that manage approval process for, right? There are no approval process for this object. Then if you see, there is a button called create new approval process. Then it says that use jump start wizard. It says that standard setup wizard. We will use jump start wizard because it is going to take us to the step by step, not step by step. This is not the one we are going to follow. The second one we are going to use is standard setup wizard. The reason we are using it is going to take us to the step by step for approval process. So what is the process name? So the process name is discount approval for opportunity. Go ahead and click on next. Now here, this is the entry criteria we talked about, right? Every record should be meeting some set of entry criteria. In our case, we need to make sure that the discount approval is not null or it is greater than 2%. Because if it is greater than 2%, then only we will perform the further set of actions. So what you have to select field, and under the fields, you have to select whatever the opportunity discount is. So this is the one, opportunity discount percentage. We will say that greater, okay? Greater than 2% is going to be 0.02, okay? If you divide 2 by 100, it is going to be 0.02. Then click on next. Then here it says that specify next approval field and record editability properties. Let me quickly give it a room for you. Yep. It says that next automated approval determined by. That means who is going to receive the approval email, okay? So let's quickly say here, for now we are going to select manager, okay? You can select manager. This is going to be the manager. Manager will receive the email for the approval. And you can say use approval field of opportunity owner. We are not going to use that. Then there is something called who is going to edit the record. So once the record is submitted for approval, there should be some certain restrictions so that only authenticated user or authorized user can edit those records, because no one can edit. Like if I submit the record for approval, I should not be having the record to approve, like authority to approve, because if I could put the discount of 15% and then approve that, right? So for that, we usually select recommended way is already administrator only can edit the record during approval process. That means if the record is submitted for approval process, only the admin can edit the record. No one can edit, okay? Then go ahead and click on next. Once you click on next, there is something select notification template. Here it says that select email template that will be used to notify approvers that approval request has been assigned to them. It is an optional, and we will not talk about what kind of email template we are going to send, but usually what we send here is we prepare a approval template, an email where we say that dear, then approval name, and we say that you have got an approval request for then the name of your record, and then some sort of like key values like opportunity amount, account name, close date, what is the discount percent. Okay, this kind of things we usually put into the email template. We'll not put that because that is something going to take more time, and we are not even going to see that email part. So go ahead and click on next. Now here, select the fields to display on the approval page layout. So whenever an approver is going to approve or reject the record, what field they will see on that layout. So let's say that opportunity name, owner, we are going to put account, like these three fields as well, account name, close date, and then you can also have some sort of field which is opportunity discount percent, okay, and description as well. So these are the fields basically we want to be displayed on the approval page layout. Now here it says that approval page fields, it says a display approval history information in addition to the field selected above. We will say yes, so that it will be look like this. Let's say, let me quickly show you. It will look like this. They will see the fields over here. They will also see what approval history is, like who had approved, what are the comments, and who is pending to approve that record. Okay, so that's what its checkbox says. We will select that. Then security settings. Under security settings, it says that allow approver to access the approval page only from the Salesforce application. Recommended. Yes, that's what we are going to do. Go ahead and click on next. Now initial submitters. Who can submit the record for approval? Most of the time it is always owner of a record. That's why it's selected opportunity owner, because the record is opportunity. Sometimes there might be some other users. If there are, you can see here in the drop down, you will find some users. You have to go there and you can select. Say that I'm selecting flow admin 1 as well. Then page layout settings, we will say add the submit for approval button and approval history related list to opportunity page layouts. This is also will suggest as a recommended way, because to submit an approval, if you want to manually submit, there has to be a button on the record. We will see how to automatically submit, but for now this is what it is going to be there. Then submission settings. There are some scenarios where approval, like as an approval I submitted for approval, but then I thought I had to recall and then make some changes and then resubmit it. That is where this setting comes into the picture. If we check this checkbox, our submitter can recall the approval process and then again make the modification and then submit it. So we will check this checkbox as well and do the same. So these were the proper steps, the 6 steps that we have done for our approval process. Now you will see like this. What would you like to do now? It says that you have just created an approval process. However, you cannot activate this process until you define at least one approval step. Would you like to do that? Then these are basically 3 options. We are not going to create the approval steps now. We will first see what are the detailed page for that approval. So we will say that I will do this later. Take me to the approval detail page. Okay, go ahead and click on go. Now this is how your approval process is going to look like. This is the page. You have given the name, you have given the criteria, you have given action, manager or record approver. This record is not active yet. Who can edit the record? Admin. Who are the initial submitter? There is no email template. Okay, this is just for definitions. Now you see here there are some initial submission actions we talked about, right? There will be initial submission action, there will be final approval action, and then there will be final rejection action as well. Okay, and then there are recall actions if a user is recalling the approval process. And then we have got steps, very important. You don't have any steps, we must need to have. Then initial submission step is what it is going to be is, so whenever a user is submitting a record for approval, we need to update the discount approval field status to submitted for approval. So we'll just go ahead, we'll click on add existing, add existing, click on cancel. We will click on add new and then field update, because we wanted to update a field. And what we will say that set status to submitted. Which field we want? We have got custom field, which is opportunity discount approval status, and we want a specific field which is submitted to approval. We will do the same. This is the initial submission action that we have. If you want, you can create a task as well. Just go ahead and click on add new and then task, and we will say that call with opportunity. Okay, assigned to is going to be the opportunity owner. We will select that. So select opportunity owner. From the type, you have to select owner and then select opportunity owner. Then subject will say that call with opportunity. Then it says that due date. So let's select rule trigger date plus 1. Like whenever the record was triggered, the approval process was triggered, due date will be after 1 date. Okay. Priority, let's say that high. Status will say that not started and save it. So we just set it set up the two initial actions. One is updating the field, one is creating a task. Okay. Now what will happen for the final approval action? Finally, like all the steps has been performed, then final approval action will be executed. Let's go ahead and add our field update and we will say record is approved. Okay. So we'll say that set status to approved, because that's what final approval action says. So again, we will select discount approval status and a specific value, it is going to be approved. Now for what we are going to do to the final rejection action, we are going to add a field update where we will say that set status to rejected. Select the same field, which is again our pick list value which we have created, a specific value, rejected, and save it. This is what happens when we actually do for final approval and rejection. Now what if a customer wants to recall their action? Okay, let's say that they submitted, initial actions was there, the status field was set to submitted, but if they recall, we need to make sure that the field value is set to blank. So we will again go ahead, click on field update, and we can say here set status to null, and the same value we are going to have, discount approval status, and we will say that what we are going to a specific value. Okay, and then go ahead and click on save. There will be none. That's what we selected, none. Now we are done with our final approval action, we are done with final rejection action and recall action. Now let's talk about approval steps. What approval steps should be there? So this is what it says, that if discount is greater than 2%, take approval from manager. If discount is greater than 4%, take approval from senior manager. That means here we have got a catch. The discount should be between 2 to 4, then the manager will be approval, and then if the discount is greater than 4, then our senior manager is going to give the approval. Okay. So now what we will do is, we will get back here, we are going to say new approval step, and name we are going to say that discount is between 2 to 4, discount is between 2% to 4%, we'll say that step number 1, number is going to be 1, click on next. Then it says that all records should enter this step. Yes, all records should enter this step. No, we will select enter this step with following criteria are met, else approve the record. Okay. Now what criteria is, we have got opportunity discount percentage, it should be, let's say that greater than 0.02, and we will say that opportunity percentage is less than 0.04. that is what it says, like between 2 to 4. Okay, that's what we have got, and condition is going to be, filter logic is going to be and. Go ahead and click on next. Now there is got third step, it says that select the approver who is going to receive the email for this particular step. Okay, let the submitter choose the approval manually, automatically assign using user field selected earlier, it is manager, or we will select automatically assign to approver and we will select user. Usually you select a certain fields, okay, but here we are going to select a user for our demo purpose. And then when multiple approvers are selected, it says that approve or reject based on the first response, require unanimous approval from all the approvals selected. This is something if you have more than one user, select there is something one user as well, which says that flow admin 1. Now how the approval is going to behave, if admin user approved, then it will consider as approved. If we select require unanimous, okay, in that case both the user must approve the record, so we will select anyone is approved. Okay, the approvers delegate may also approve this request, we will not talk about that. Go ahead and save this. This is the very first step. Now it says that what you are going to do as a step. We'll say that no, I will do this later. I'll tell you what that was. Then we will create one more step, which is going to be discount greater than 4%. So we will select. Now here if you see on the top, it says that before this approval step, there is one more step, right? And all these particular description about that step is here. So go ahead, click on next. We will say criteria must match, okay? And what criteria is, we will say if opportunity discount percentage is greater than 0.04, go ahead and click on next. Now here it says that who is going to be the approver. So we will select, we will again choose the approver and we will select the admin user, who is me. Now here reject behavior, it says that there is something else come. What should happen if the approver rejects this request? We will say perform all rejection action for this step and final rejection action as well. Perform only the rejection action for this step and send the approval request back to the most recent approver. Go back to the step 1. Okay. So most of the time it is always perform all rejection action as well as final rejection action, because there will be very rare cases where if a particular approver rejects, we might wanted to send to someone else. But if a particular approver rejects, we usually perform all the rejection action. That's why we will select this one. Go ahead and save this. Now again, just go ahead, no, like select the third option and click on go. We have got these steps, right? Now here, if you see step 1, it says that if opportunity is between like 2 to 4, then step 1 will be performed, otherwise approve the record. But we don't need that. We need to say if this step criteria doesn't match, then check the steps for step 2. Okay, so just go ahead and click on edit and go ahead and click on next, and here instead of approve record, select go to next step. So it will go to the next step, which is step number 2. Now here we have got this next step. Okay, now you might want to edit this and then you go ahead and click on next. There is no basically step, that's why there is no something called go to next step, right? Now if you wanted to get back, let's say that if discount approval is less than 0.24, like 0.2, basically 2%. So what we can do is we go ahead, new approval step, and we can have here, we will select discount is less than 2%. Go ahead and click on next. We will select if the criteria matches. Field is again discount percent. We will say less than or equal to 0.02. 0.02. However, we have put the INT criteria, which says that the discount must be greater than 2. So this step will never execute it, but I just wanted to show you what actually happens. And then we'll say no. Now here it says that this particular step is there, right? We have to go ahead and edit this step, which is going to be step number 2. Click on next. Now here it says that enter this and else approved. What we will say is we'll say go to next record and we will do the same. So this is what happens. Perform step 1. If that doesn't matches, go to next step. If that doesn't matches, go to next step. Okay. Now here if you see there is something called show action. If you click on that button, there are 2 actions. One which says that approve action, one which says that reject action, right? Now here if we wanted to send some email to the owner, say that the record was approved, we can send the approval action. If we wanted to send some email to the owner, say that record was rejected, we can send that email. We can also update the record as well. This approval action will be more useful whenever you are working with a multi-level approval process, which is more complex. Okay, we're not going to add, let's quickly go ahead and add one thing for this. We will say add existing, because we wanted to say that the record was approved. We'll just go ahead, add existing field update, and we will say set status to approved. Do the same. We have just added the existing action which we created, and we say that it is going to approve the record if the record is approved. Similarly, for rejection, we are going to do set status, field, and that is going to be field update, and we will say rejected. Okay, these are the 2 actions for the first step we are going to do, and rest of the steps we are not going to do anything. Okay, now if you see your approval process is ready, you've got every single bit and pieces which you needed. Then you have got a button on the top, click on activate, and your process will be activated. Once you have activated the process, if you want to make any changes, it is always recommended to use clone button, clone the approval process, and then make the changes over there, and then activate that approval process. Okay, now we have got this. Time to test is there. We'll go ahead. There is one opportunity. We are going to open that, and we will try to see how exactly the approval process works. So open any kind of opportunity that we've got. For now, if you see, without refreshing the page, I'm just trying to see if we have got approval process. You've got approval history over here, right? This is the one related list we were talking about. And then we will go to the details. Under details, we will see if that field is there. Discount approval percentage and status is there. So I will select, let's quickly select approval percentage to 3. Okay. And we'll go ahead and click on save. We have just put the 3%. Discount status is nothing. Now if you see the drop down, there is a button called submit for approval. Click on that submit for approval and say that submitting for discount approval, submitting for 3% discount approval. Okay, then do the submit. So as soon as we do submit, you can see here there is something called submitted for approval. That means our initial submission action is working. If you scroll down to the bottom, you will see there is something called approval history. Let me quickly show over here. It is saying that approval request submitted, then submit. This is the comment, and it says that discount is greater than 4%. Basically, the condition that we put is actually not working correctly. But if you see, there is something. If you get back over here, it says that 0.02 or 0.04. If we edit this, let's quickly edit this. Okay, why I'm trying to edit this, just to show you like the condition is working. If we set 0.02 and 0.04 greater than and less than, the process is activated. I'm going to recall this, not reject. Let's quickly recall this process. Okay, we are going to recall and recall this. What recall is going to do is it is going to revoke the approval process. Okay, now if you go to the opportunity, we must see that detail field. This discount approval process has been set to blank. You remember this recall over here? You see this recall action, that's what it does. Okay, now what we will do is we'll again submit it for approval, just to see which particular step we are actually landing to. So we are again submitted for approval is there. If you go here under approval process, again we are landing to discount greater than 4. There is something in the basically condition that we are seeing over here. This particular condition is doing that trick. We might need to check why is that, but for now let's quickly do skip that part. You see here the approval is pending. If I approve, click on approve, I have to do the approval. Let's say that approve. If I approve, the opportunity is approved. You see step is approved. If I get back to the opportunity, which is this, you will see that the field which is approved. Okay, go to the details. You see the field is set to approved. If you go to the activity, you will see that there are 2 tasks, both the tasks for 2 times, right? We submitted the record 2 times. That's why we are getting the record 2 times. So this is it for your approval process. I will suggest please look into this step why this is not working. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I will be more than happy to help you. Thank you.